Hey, all my bullet journaling friends. I am super excited to be here and to start putting together my March setup. This one has been weighing on me a little bit. You guys definitely helped me and took a poll about a week and a half ago, and I knew I wanted to do some type of like rainbow-ish because with March and the St. Patty's Day, I'm not really like huge into the St. Patty's Day thing, so I wanted to kind of take a little bit of it, but not too much. So you guys chose one, which was my favorite. I was pretty excited that you guys did choose that one. So we are going to get started. I did want to do a flip through of February, though, with you real quick, as it was a pretty fun one. Unfortunately, I did get sick twice in the month, so my weeklies aren't as filled out as they normally are. But for the most part, once I was feeling better, like I was filling in things and all that kind of stuff. So obviously my February monthly cover page, I loved this. I loved the way that this all turned out. Super busy this month, honestly. Nice full monthly spread. And yeah, I just love how everything kind of came out. First week, like I said, nice full different type of spread, and I've definitely loved this layout and have stuck with it. As you will see, this is the week that I did get sick, and it was a rough week, so you'll see that things did get a little spare. I ended up feeling better this week, the beginning of this week, and then fell sick again. I don't know what is going on with myself, but I think it's a lot of the weather. The weather is absolutely crazy here in Michigan. It like literally shifts 50 degrees every day. So, oh, that wasn't the week I had the weather. Anyways, but I loved this. I absolutely loved it. Like this part, I kept it very simple because, like I said, I was setting up off of a week being sick. And I just needed, as you can see, when I was feeling better, I had tons of things to get done. And then went back to not feeling so great. And then this is this week again, because I was sick last week, it was a lot of catch up, and, we have decided that we want to go on a trip during spring break. And so I'm doing a lot of door dashing, which is not leaving me much time to be in my bullet journal and to be at my desk and all that kind of stuff. So we'll get back to it, get back to a regular life. Social media this month, I hit a huge milestone and, got to 1,000 subscribers. So thank you. I hit that on the 12th of February with my Create with Kay. And honestly, this channel has been doing exceptionally well. So it's been a good month, but a bad month of me posting, unfortunately. Hopefully March we can turn that back around. So there was also, so I also got to check off one thing in my 101 things to do in 2023. I went through this list, and a lot of this list is like things to do in the summer. Even though travel with kids, we're going to knock that off. And I do believe I put go to Chicago, and then I realized I actually put it up here, go to Chicago for the weekend. We're going not for the weekend, but in the middle of a week. So we are starting to knock out some of these things. So, all right. So yeah, let's get started. At least on March, I only have about a half hour to work in here. So we're gonna do is we are sticking to just one page. Again, this will be my currently for February. All right, guys, so let's start on this monthly spread. I thought I was going to take a little bit of a different color palette, but everything that I was trying, I just wasn't loving. So I did kind of go with the color palette of the inspiration. I found it in a few different places. I will put it up here. So thank you to Abuju and Raindrops for giving me this inspiration. I definitely found this also used in a few other spots on Pinterest, so I don't know who used it first. I mean, who really cares, right? That was my main inspiration page. She had, or she has a lot of great inspiration. It doesn't look like she's posted much in the last couple of months, but she has a large backlog of inspiration, so definitely check her out. All right, so I did just write March a little differently than the inspiration with my Fudu Sunuk. I'm going to do it again, guys, every single time. I can say it perfectly in my head. You guys, I can definitely say it perfectly in my head. Fudu Sunuke, right? I think. I'm not sure. Joshi, tell me if I'm saying it wrong again. I try so hard. Anyways. And then just go through and bolden the downstrokes, of course, to make it a little bit. Now, I should have moved it over just a little bit, but it doesn't bother me too much. All right, so like I have mentioned before, if you are a new bullet journalist, the Crayola, I can't speak at all. Crayola super tip markers are the way to go. They have such a great color palette. They give you so many markers. I think like the 100 pack, and I think I got it for like $9. I'll definitely link them below. I know they, adjust in price somewhat, but you can just pick whatever color palette you want, and there will be a marker in there for it, right? So I did use this like pinkish and like an orangish sunset type thing, a really mustardy yellow, more of this darker teal, and then a lighter sea glass type color right there. A couple things that I learned while doing this is that first squiggle that you do, so this is a really easy one, of course. This is like anybody can do this, right? If I can do it, anybody can do this. But that first squiggle, like you've seen in that top one, definitely needs to be the most exaggerated, because as you keep on going, as you can see at that top one, like those last two blue lines just weren't as squiggly. I don't know. Weren't so abstract, right? So I quickly learned my lesson and definitely made that one pink line super squiggly. One thing I did also do was change the direction of my colors. Sometimes I started with the pink, sometimes I started with that sea glass color. And yeah, it worked out real well. So another thing that these colors did very well is match my Tim Holtz Distress Oxide line. And lo and behold, I had just swatched all of my Distress Oxide because I'm getting to a point where I have a lot of them. So I'm forgetting which ones I have and I don't have. So you're definitely going to see later on in my weeklies, when I start putting them out, that light bluish matched the crack pistachio. That next line was probably the hardest one to kind of mix in there. I didn't know, that was about the only one that I was like, ugh, I don't really have a true match, but I was going to use pine needles for that. That orange was perfect with carved pumpkin. The yellow was a great match for dried marigold, and that pink was a good match for saltwater taffy. So throughout my weeklies, I will be using those to kind of color match and use throughout to keep this theme going, because last month I definitely lost my way with the theme. I started getting more into the February. Yeah, well, happens. All right, just going through and just like the inspiration, just kind of adding some, doodles, making this a little bit more fun. I am using the 0.08 and 0.05 microns. I also used my Jelly Roll 10 to put some white highlights in the March. So this was such a fun spread. I was really able to just put it together. I didn't have to think much about it. I just kind of let it, I tried not to be like perfect about it. I kind of just put dots down, scribbled some lines, and let it go. And I think it turned out super well. All right, moving right along into my monthly spread. So my setups have generally gotten pretty simple. We're doing a cover page, a monthly setup, and a social media tracker. This month I am doing a little bit different on my meal prep, but you won't see that here. It's not pretty. I was showing you, I get a ton of questions on how I clean my stamps and my ruler. Like, I do this a lot because my rulers tend to get the black ink on them and then smudge on the paper. And I legit just use a dollar store baby wipes from Dollar General, and it is the fragrance-free, scent-free, nothing baby wipes, because I have found that if you add a fragrance or add something to them, like super soft ones, then they tend to get oily, and they tend to get they tend to just like leave like a oily substance all over. So bad thing about I found a new ruler around the house. Bad thing is it looks like at the end, if you see down there, that there's like an indent in it, and it was making my lines all wonky. I also just made a mistake, as you've seen, but we'll get that all cleared up with some I made another mistake, and I don't even realize that. I legit have been writing all over this layout and never realized that I went one spot up. I wonder if I can even change that at this point. I doubt I can. But honestly, if I never even realized it, and I have filled out this whole monthly spread. All right, so my boxes are 7x7, I believe. Yeah, 7x7. I need a big a monthly, calendar. I put a lot of stuff in here. My boys have a lot of sports, and my photography business is starting to come back live. Now that the weather hopefully will be getting a little better, even though we're in the middle of an ice storm right now. Just carrying along that title, using my brush lettering, and then going back through and thickening those downstrokes pretty much is all I'm doing. Again, using that Tambo Furusanuke pen. I use the hard brush though. I probably could use the soft brush and get a wider downstroke. I just like the hard tip a lot better. I have a lot more control over it. So you can use the soft tip and get much bigger and not have to go over it. All right, and then just putting in my little swooshes. I don't know what really to call those. Rainbows. There we go. I'll call them rainbows, since this was supposed to be a type of rainbow-ish theme. I didn't want to go with a super rainbowish theme, but I did want something along those lines, and all of the greenish blues in this color palette definitely screamed March to me. So that is pretty much why we went with it. It is also something easy that I can draw. That's always a plus. And yeah. I think it turned out great. I love this month's theme. It's kind of bright, with not being like super bright. So especially when I start adding that that outer green, bluish, tealish, I don't know what you want to call that, sea foamy. I think it's more sea foam color. And you will see me add that to the top of all of my monthly boxes here coming in, and that's what brightens this spread right up. Again, just going through with my, I think I ended up switching over to the 0.05 for these. I was at the 0.08 and it was just a bit thick. Going through and adding swirls and stars and just dots, any type of little doodle to kind of just make it finished, pretty much. I did do a drop shadow with my Tombow N89, I think that's the one I usually always use. And then going around my March also and doing some doodles. All right, that about fills that out, and we are going to move on to my social media tracker. So, I know a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, all of the calendars, right? I used to do 3 and for my meal planning. But I have something that I'm working on for my meal planning, make my life a little bit easier. This is just a almost half-page social media calendar. This one is only, I think this is 5x6 wide for my calendar. Just a smaller one. I don't need something quite as big, and I would like the space over on the side, if you haven't watched my other ones, to be open so that I can put a tracker over there of what videos I have gotten done, what videos need to still be done, and like thumbnails that all need to be done, since I do run 2 channels. It is a lot of videos. I think it's like 17 to 18 videos a month. It's kind of crazy. I, most of the time, unfortunately, don't get them all up. But I make goals every single month to try and get those up. I realized that I forgot to put the headers over here. I've done that so many times. I don't know why I always forget these, but I went back over and decided just to use my hand lettering to hand letter those in. And yeah, that's pretty much the basis of that. I hated how I wrote the F, but it's not that serious. Over here, I think I just write them in capitals. My social media calendar is definitely a lot less decorative and way more functional. If you see my social media calendar at the end of the month, it is like full to the brim. I make notes, I scratch out things, I change things. It's kind of crazy. So I definitely don't try to jazz this one up as much as I do the other ones. So, but again, I just kept this the same all the way through. Again, like I said, I am really trying to match my monthly this month. I usually do fine in my setup, and then I fall off track in my weeklies. So, but this one, instead of doing just a drop shadow gray, I actually did a yellow drop shadow, and then for the title, I use each color to just do a simple uppercase title. And then I mess up spelling media. I have no idea. Usually it's social. I always forget how to spell. I'm always like, is it the A or the I? I hate the way I did the M. I really should actually just go back and cover that up. But I'm trying not to be so finicky right there. And I'm like, oh, yep. That's totally supposed to be a D. So on to the back we go. And all you got to do is cut out a piece of this. Unfortunately, I didn't cut out a big enough piece, but I cover it pretty well. It works. It's not the end of the world. Oh, we're gonna stop. Puppy Snuggles. I forgot I left that in. He was all over me this day, and he was he growls underneath his breath to let me know that he wants up in my lap. But I don't like him up in my lap when I'm doing this because I then have to reach over him. But he stayed there. All right, so here is the part that I was talking about earlier where I just write the day of the month over here, and then I will leave a spot for what video needs to go up that day, and then I cross off several different trackers pretty much. Whether it needs to be, for my other channel, whether the, photos need to be printed, it's been filmed, edited, a thumbnail has been done, published, and scheduled pretty much is what I like to keep track of. So I was so proud of myself last month that I had gotten so far ahead, more than a week ahead of schedule. And then I just got so sick this month that I caught a cold, and then, as I'm sure you can probably hear. And then I got rid of it. I thought so, at least. And then 2 days later, I felt great for 2 days. And then 2 days later, it just knocked me right back down and came back with a vengeance. And I'm still sitting here fighting it. So I've just gotten behind on videos again. So we're trying to catch up and see what we can do. I did one set of swirlies on this page. Yep, just one set of swirlies on this page and calling it good. So thank you guys so much for following along and watching my March bullet journal setup. It definitely has been fun. Let me know in the comments below if you loved how this turned out. I think it's great to start coming out of like the winter blues. It's hard to believe that like my kids will be starting outside baseball in like 2 weeks. I don't know how, but they'll figure it out. Because there's, like I said, I mentioned there was an ice storm today, right? All right, guys, thank you guys so much for being here. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you are new, and put a big M in the comments below if you made it this far. Talk to you soon. Bye.